Hey guys, it's Lizzie. So this is a video I've been wanting to do for a while. This is a ton of insight, research I've done into how bipolar affects your thoughts, emotions, impulses within relationships.
If you could see what I could see, I know you would believe there's more to who you are. There's more to who you are.
I didn't know I had bipolar until I was 21 years old. Once I was diagnosed, I did a ton of research, read about other people's experiences in relationships, and I realized that some of my decisions and perspectives were directly caused by being in a manic or depression episode, spiraling in between. I think the worst is when you are rapid spiraling because it's so slight and you don't really realize it's a full-out episode, but then it blows up and affects so much your emotions within a relationship and how you feel about another person.
I see it all in you, oh so priceless.
The biggest thing that I want to say is that when you're more manic, and this doesn't have to be like a full-out DSM episode, this can be like a slight hypomania or a slight depression. It doesn't have to be actual episodes. But just when there's these tiny mood fluctuations, it completely can change how you feel and your attraction towards someone. So when I've been more manic, I've been attracted to my guy friends who I'm not at all attracted to. Or just, I feel attracted to every guy around me when normally I wouldn't. And then when I'm in a slight depression episode, let's say I'm in a relationship with someone, I can feel like not attracted to them at all, annoyed by them, I want to break things off immediately. It just completely changes how you feel. And it can feel like literally a switch is going off in your brain when you're spiraling between these two extremes. And I think what's so difficult is that these emotions, thoughts, impulses are going on within your own brain. And I've been able to pick apart what is caused by bipolar and what my actual feelings towards a guy are, but it's really difficult. The time I just knew 100% that this was a thing is this one guy I was talking to last year. I accidentally missed a dosage of my medicine, so I was really stabilized. So then the next day I spiked up into a manic a little bit, and then the next day I crashed into depression. The day I crashed into depression, I immediately felt insecure in the relationship, not attracted to him. Just because I was in a slight depression for one day, the next day I went back to normal, was balanced on medicine, and felt completely fine in what was happening. A similar thing that happened recently, I added on an antipsychotic called FLUCTUATE, and as the medicine was kicking in, I felt more and more secure in the relationship and so peaceful about what was going on. So certain about it. So that's the main thing I want you guys to know. Just do not trust your emotions as much, and if there's like a slight change in how you feel about the other person, like don't freak out, don't make impulsive decisions, don't break up the relationship just because of that. Hypersexuality is also a part of bipolar, which means that when you're more manic, you're more attracted to everyone. You'll want to be more physical with someone who you otherwise wouldn't want to be physical with. So the way I've worked around this is I am just super conservative. Like I don't hook up with people basically. I'm only physical with someone if I'm like in a relationship with them. And I have really clear boundaries. I'm a Christian, so I'm not having sex until I'm married. And I've never been manic enough to where I'm like having sex with people I don't know. Like that's a thing that happens. And so this isn't at all to judge you if that's happened to you. Like I've never been that manic. I don't know what I would do if I was that manic. So when I'm more manic, I will feel attracted to so many guys, and my body will try to start flirting with them. And so it's horrible because usually when I'm like normal and just Liz, and if I'm in a relationship, my body just automatically doesn't care about other guys, doesn't want to start flirting with them. But when I'm manic, I start flirting with everyone. And so that's so disrespectful when you're in a relationship. So I try really hard. Like I'm so aware of my body language, how I'm talking, how I'm smiling. I fight against that and I don't flirt with other guys, even though that's what my brain wants me to do because I'm manic. I hope that helps you. Don't feel guilty unnecessarily. Like don't beat yourself up because you're having symptoms.
Can you tell me where we went wrong? At least tell me just to move on.
And I know too, like I've read a lot of stories where people, when they get so manic, they will literally like cheat on like the person they're married to or dating. They will go have sex with someone else. And the only reason that happened is because they're manic. If I was married to someone with bipolar and then they cheated on me when they were in a really bad manic episode, like I would forgive them and understand and not even be mad. But my thing is, instead of thinking about what happens in the worst case scenario, prepare in advance and stay on medicine so that never happens. You know, like that doesn't need to happen where you get so manic that you cheat on the person you're dating. If you're on really strong mood stabilizers and you sleep 8 or 9 hours every night and you work out every day, you're just not gonna go that manic, you know? Like medicine prevents you from having manic episodes. The best way to take care of and protect the relationship is to stay on medicine and to get enough sleep. It's really simple.
Your laughter haunts me like a ringing in my ear.
And so with being manic and being attracted to people you wouldn't even care about normally, like I've accidentally been in a relationship with someone once and it really hurt him, and so I feel awful about that. So going forward, if I suddenly feel attracted to someone who I didn't feel attracted to for months and months and months, just, you know, like question yourself and don't be impulsive. Like especially don't be impulsive physically. And I'm not like that naturally, like thank goodness. But if you are, just be super careful so you don't accidentally hurt someone and lead people on.
It's deafening, never knowing what could be. Wish I could show you.
So I'm in a relationship right now. I'm really, really happy. I wish I could introduce him to you guys. I don't know, it's interesting because I talk so much about my life on here, but then it's kind of like, this is like a private thing. Like I want to protect him, like protect his privacy from all of you. But I just want to talk about how bipolar plays out in our relationship. So first of all, I was super open up front that I have bipolar. Before we were together, when we were friends, I actually got really mad at him one time when I was hypomanic a bit. So I was apologizing after, and then I was like, oh, like I have bipolar, I was really manic, I'm so sorry, like this won't happen again. And he was super chill about it. He didn't seem to view me any differently once I said that I have bipolar. So you don't have to make this a huge deal. I would talk about it really early on, just say, oh yeah, I have bipolar. Otherwise it's like you're lying to them and hiding something.
Wish I could show you, but you're just a ghost now.
I get a lot of messages from people with bipolar who say that their significant other, they feel like they're not able to talk about it. And if that's the case, that's not gonna work long term. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're not able to talk openly about your mental illness, how it affects you day to day, how it affects your emotions within the relationship, that person just isn't mature enough to be in a relationship with you. If they say things like, oh, are you mad at me right now because you're manic? If they deny your depression, if they think mental illness isn't real, you deserve to be with someone so much better than that. And I mean, mental illness, there's so much information out there. Like you will find someone who's able to be supportive and understanding. So don't put up with being with someone who's invalidating you and stigmatizing you. Like you can totally find someone who isn't like that.
What you keep inside.
So something else to keep in mind is that when you get into a relationship, it affects the chemicals within your brain. You're really happy, you feel so excited to talk to this person. They literally give you like antidepressant type effect where they give you, there's like serotonin and dopamine release because you're talking to this person a lot. You're super happy when you're around them. So that intrinsically is going to destabilize your brain, just being in a relationship. I actually have gone on more meds recently because I'm with this guy. And I hate going on more meds, but it's just the fact that bipolar will mess up our relationship, hurt him so much if I don't get my brain stabilized. Just know that. Know that bipolar, it's like this obstacle that will get in the way of you being happy, having a peaceful, chill, normal relationship. If you don't stay medicated, go to therapy, track your mood, work out every day, eat healthy, sleep enough. If you don't do all of that, it will hurt the people you care about the most, especially when you're in a relationship with someone. Another thing that I've noticed is that when I'm balanced on medicine, I do not feel infatuation at all. My one thought is that maybe what I thought was infatuation mixed with mania. So actual infatuation is a lot calmer than that. But I really just think like I don't feel infatuation anymore because I was talking to one of my best friends who's newly in a relationship, and just the way she feels like this rush and like all these things, like that's not my experience at all anymore. And it's just something I don't think I'll feel unless I'm off medicine. It's interesting because bipolar cannot like selectively numb you. So it kind of like calms down all of your emotions and like takes away some of your ability to feel strong. And so don't worry if you don't feel like strong emotion and rush of emotion towards whoever you're with. If you're really medicated, it takes away the whole like honeymoon phase of the relationship and it just gets you to that like calm, normal, like chill part of the relationship instead of like the beginning, like super happy, wanting to talk to the person all the time. Like that's just not really my experience anymore, and unless I went off meds, it wouldn't be.
You're not who you were, better than when you were.
Something else I've experienced is that when I'm more manic, time will feel like so much more, and so like a day for me will feel like a week for someone else because I'll be having so many thoughts, emotions, epiphanies, so much is going on. It's like my mind is sprinting ahead and other people around me just can't keep up. Sometimes I'll feel like so emotionally far away and so emotionally disconnected, especially with someone you're dating, because you know, like you feel so close to them, like you're in a relationship, you know each other so well, but sometimes you're just not going to mentally be able to feel really close to them. You'll feel so disconnected and so far away just because you're more manic, you're more outside of reality, and there's nothing you can do about that except for go on antipsychotics, go on stronger mood stabilizers. That's just something to look out for and to be aware of in advance. I think that's the biggest thing. Just be aware that all these things could happen, communicate about it to whoever you're with, and don't freak out when you feel suddenly not attracted to them, suddenly like disconnected from them. Like it's probably just your bipolar acting up. It'll go away in a few days or a week or so. I'm always super upfront with my psychiatrist and my therapist if I'm in a relationship and how the bipolar affects it, because I just know like a romantic relationship, it's so intense. When I go into a depression episode, I don't suddenly feel disconnected from my friends and like annoyed at my friends and like I don't want to be friends with them. It only happens in a relationship because you're so close to that person. Like little changes in your brain completely affect how you feel. But if you really care about someone, just decide in your mind to commit to them regardless of what happens, unless something is like emotionally abusive in your dynamic. Unless something like that happens, like I just decided like I'm not gonna cut someone off, I'm not gonna break things off just if my brain changes. When you go into a depression episode, even if it's a slight depression and it's for a long time, like it messes with you because you suddenly don't feel attracted to this person at all. And even though it is only caused by the bipolar, it feels real. Like it feels like your actual feelings about the person. And I'm so self-aware of this now that it's like a battle going on in my brain. So it's like my bipolar, like impulses, emotions, thoughts, and then like my actual self, and I'm just like, stop, like shut up, like it's not how I actually feel. If you don't have bipolar and happen to be watching it, that probably sounds crazy, but for me, I've literally heard voices before having bipolar, and so I'm just very aware that sometimes like what my emotions and thoughts and impulses are, it's not at all me, it's just a bipolar. That's why doing therapy, tracking your mood every day, just really analyzing your intentions and what you're feeling, it's so important. But I've had a few days where like I want nothing to do with him and it's like just the bipolar, it's not actually me. So when that's going on, I don't tell him, I don't like wake up in the morning and text him and I'm like, hey, like today I'm feeling like not attracted to you at all and I want to end things. When I have that feeling for like half of a day, I'm not gonna like tell him every time that happens. If it happened for a long period of time, if I went into, you know, a severe depression episode for a couple months and that was happening, I would tell him because it would affect me so much. But I personally have decided that if it's only going on for like a day or a couple days, there's literally nothing good coming out of telling him that. It's just gonna make whoever you're with feel insecure in the relationship, feel like you don't want to be with them, because someone who doesn't have bipolar, like they cannot fully understand the concept of having voices in your head, emotions, impulses that are not from your actual self, but are in your brain. I've noticed with him that because there are no problems in the relationship, it's kind of hilarious because my brain, the bipolar part of me, it can't point to anything though. So it's just like these impulses of wanting to like text him and tell him I don't want anything to do with him anymore, but it's literally like there's no logic to attach to it.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to run away. A bigger part of me is telling me to stay.
Another thing I found in researching is that it's really common when you're switching between episodes. So for example, when you're switching between a slight manic to depression, from depression to mania, from mania to normal, from depression to normal. Anytime you're switching between an episode, it's extremely common to want to leave a relationship when you switch between the episode. So just be aware of that. Be super analyze why you're actually trying to break up with someone. Just because even if you explain to them later, oh, it was my bipolar, that still causes damage where now that person feels insecure in the relationship because you broke up with them. to just like, don't be impulsive, really think through your decisions and just analyze why am I actually wanting to leave? Is it just this like impulsive bipolar emotion, or are there actual like solid problems? So I'm so open with him. Like, I share so much about what my depression is like, experiences I've had when I've been manic. Just like how I go super in depth in my videos on all these experiences, I share all of that with him. But then at the same time, there's certain things that it's like I want to protect him from. It's honestly so difficult to know like what to share and what not to share, but all I know is he's gonna be really hurt and affected by certain things because it's hurting me and he cares about me. And that's just gonna happen. Like, when someone's really close to you and something is really hurting you, they're gonna get hurt by it too. But then at the same time, I understand that there's certain things that I just want to go through with God and my psychiatrist. I'm not at all saying to not share things. I'm just saying, like, be wise and don't share absolutely everything if you feel like you don't need to. Like, there's some days where my bipolar will be so bad, so chaotic, I'll feel horrible, and I don't like wake up in the morning and like report all my symptoms and say how horrible it is. Cause it's like the other person you're with, like just by being with you and being around you and just being a positive, peaceful force in your life, they're doing so much for you. And so I still keep a lot of things to myself, even though I share with him more than anyone else. And being in a relationship and knowing that it will directly affect him and impact him if I don't have my brain taken care of, you know, it's extra motivation to stay on medicine and to go to therapy and to sleep enough.
I'm leaving, but I hope you see that we don't have to give this up.
And the other thing too is just to apologize when you do things wrong, even if it is directly caused by being manic. Like, if you get mad at them randomly, or if you say something rude, or like, I don't know how your guys' symptoms manifest, but if it's directly because of the mood episode, don't just be like, oh, like, it was just the mood episode. Like, even if it was, like, still apologize. Like, people just need to hear an apology and know that you feel bad for what happened. So even if you feel like it's not your fault at all and only the bipolar, like, still apologize. That just keeps the peace, and the relationship is more important than being right. So I hope that that was a lot of advice that helped you, gave you a lot of insight on yourself. Comment below if you have any more questions, if you want me to make more videos talking about this. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!